laws being loosened in Arkansas and other places, these are all converging on that same goal. I mean, you talk about, people like to talk about the Wild West and how great and wonderful that was, and how was a free time. Well, that was, that in essence was like our process of settler colonialism, as guided by white men before women ever had any serious hope of getting the right to vote, before they could own property in most situations. And that is the time that they want to bring us back to. It's not the world we live in, but it's the world they have in their brains, and they're trying to make it a reality. And we've got to fight like demons in order to make sure that they do not win, because it's one world vision against another. And we want the one that we live in, the one that works, the one in which there is some semblance of equanimity. And theirs is not that.
It is Project 2025.
Yeah.
And when they say, when Donnie Two Scoops says, pass it on to the states, he's lying.
Yeah.
He has plans to have the Department of Health and Human Services renamed something like the Department of Recognition that embryos are children too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And getting rid of, we have no problem funding a man's erection. In fact, nobody complains about that.
Yeah.
But if a woman wants contraception, or if a woman wants an abortion or any kind of other health care, that is a huge problem.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing the degree to which our government and the way in which the far right wants to shape it is just predicated on, ultimately, I'm a man and I'm better. I'm a white guy and I'm better. I'm a Christian and you're not. Like all these things come down to these like dumb distinctions, which create this little elite, and it's all about empowering them. It's just you can take almost any issue, I think.
So if you want a reason to vote for Biden, here's one. His administration announced yesterday that with the ATF and the Department of Justice, they're closing the gun show loophole. They're changing the rules. And so if you sell firearms for profit, if you sell a gun for the purpose of profiting off of that sale, which means you will make money off of that sale, you have to register to be a gun seller, and you have to run a background check. And there's no more passing guns between friends. There's no more at the gun show, proverbially getting a gun without a background check. If you sell a gun and the purpose of it is that you make money off of that sale, then you have to be registered and you have to do a background check. I love this. I love this for us, because that means a lot of guns that don't belong in people's hands because they're buying them this way because they wouldn't be able to get it even with the broken system we have now. This will take a lot of those guns off the streets. I love this for us. Yeah.
It's a start, and we need to go a long way further, but it's a start. And so is Joe Biden's he's canceled $7.4 billion in student debt. And, there's a lot more there. And a lot of us have a lot more debt than that, because it's such a gigantic scam and such a gigantic shackle. And I know he's tried to do more than this before, and he's been stopped by right-wing states suing him. But it's a start. And this is something that he himself has accomplished. So I got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, this is awesome because yes, what he's gone to the lengths is go to the Department of Education and say you can forgive these under certain parameters. How do we get people to qualify for those parameters? He's also having the Department of Education re go over all applications to make sure that payments were properly attributed,
Yeah,
which may be clerical errors, which could lower people's what they owe. Um, the SAFE program, getting people the ability to have their interest wiped out if it's more than what they owe on their principal.
yeah,
And this is outside. This is what your gut. Look, a lot of people have cynically gotten into the impression, and because of the dumbing down of public education, that government was created to tell you what to do and to govern you.
yeah,
No, the federal government was created to stop states from doing things that were unconstitutional and provide all states have to follow certain rules if they won't follow the rules of decorum. And
right.
the legislator, the Congress was created to handle what the people want in the House and in the Congress, the states, and get those two ideas to coalesce so we can create bills that satisfy both. And then you have the Supreme Court, which makes sure that everybody's following what's in the Constitution. Now, I know all of those systems are broken, but that's why it was created. What Biden is doing with the gun show loophole and with student debt is what government was intended to do.
Yeah,
It was intended to stop states from doing harm to their citizens just because they can. So now, when the Supreme Court, because, frivolous lawsuits get through to our Supreme Court, Biden goes into the government and says, how can we still accomplish this? Well, there's things we could have done, but we weren't doing them because nobody thought of it or nobody wanted to do it. Well, let's do it. Now he's been able to cancel billions of dollars of debt and continuing. So please, people, I understand. I am upset with him on a lot of fronts. But if it can't be women's rights to just be human beings, then maybe it's the fact that he's using our government and his position in it as it was intended.
yeah,
Just by example, this is what we should look for in a president.
yeah. And Donald Trump and his forces of darkness are making it very clear where they want to go. Project 2025, you talked about so many times what Arizona is doing. Back in the day, my dad, back in the 1980s, I would watch really old school stuff because my dad's, a big, right winger military guy, and we would watch old like World War II documentaries, and I remember seeing the ones that like Frank Capra and others would produce on why we fight. And I remember the little animations that they had where it would show how Nazi Germany took over Europe and like how the dark blot, would spread across the map of Europe, enveloping more and more. And that's kind of what I see, unfortunately, like happening in the United States with, state by state, just more darkness enveloping the land. And we have the ability to stop that. We have an ability to staunch that hemorrhage in November of this year, and we have to do it. We have to stop Trump, and that is an absolutely critical thing to do, because if we don't have a democracy to work with, then we don't have anything.
But don't forget states' rights.
Yeah.
So down ballot, who your governor, your lieutenant governor, your state legislature,
attorney general, especially.
Yes, your superintendent of schools in your county, in your district. All of those people are voting for positions, and it is important. It does affect you. I don't care if you have kids or not. You're going to be dealing with those people when they turn 18 and start driving around and they're in shops with you and they're serving you or whatnot. You're going to be dealing with those people. You want to make sure that they are properly educated.
Yeah.
I don't know. Makes sense to me. You don't have to, get involved, but you don't have to get involved like with campaigns or anything. We all have busy lives. But I have taught my kids when we vote, I take them with me to the ballot box. I have them
Yeah.
put it in there since they were kids because I want them to vote on every issue.
Yeah.
Whether it's a question of whether something should be on the ballot, like, hey, guess what, Florida? Abortion is on the ballot.
Yeah.
After your governor of White Claws said, okay, well, we'll have a 15-week ban. No, we'll have a 6-week ban because a woman should get her reproductive shit together. She should know if she's pregnant in 6 weeks. Sir, we haven't even started to figure out whether or not our period is coming on time that month.
Yeah. It's so important. It's so critical to be active and engaged and to vote, because this really could be it. And I know that in our respective programs, Suzanne, you and I tend towards the lighthearted, the funny, the amusing. And there are so many lighthearted and funny and amusing things that we deal with. This isn't one of them. This is about like the future of our country, how we're going to live, how our children are going to live, how our grandchildren are going to live. And we can either choose to, have a future of darkness or have a future of light. And it's very clear what that is this year. And I hope that people are listening. And, there are other times to laugh, and we will laugh. But right now, I'm not feeling a whole bunch like doing it, frankly. There's so much bad shit going on.
Well, go listen to Lawrence O'Donnell's epic takedown.
Okay.
It's on MSNBC's YouTube channel right now. And by the way, Kevin McCarthy is the gift that keeps on giving.
Mm-hmm.
What he said this week about Matt Gaetz and the reason why he was ousted.
I missed that. What did he say?
Chef's kiss. Oh, I've got the clip.
Okay. Well, okay. So what you have to do, if you want to hear that, is you have to go on Sunday and listen to This Week Again with Susanne Posel, and you will get that clip. And are you wondering what it is? I'm wondering. I've been busy. I've been a little checked out for the last week or two. So I'm going to have to figure this out myself. I'm going to be listening on Sunday morning, and you need to be too. Every podcasting platform out there. This Week Again, Susanne Posel. Suzanne, I know this has been a serious and not the most lighthearted interaction, but it is a very critical one nevertheless. And we'll get, there will be other times for the funny, and that's totally okay. Thank you so much for being with us on Facepalm America.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to the podcast today. I would love if you would take a link to it, share it around on your social media, introduce it to others. We really appreciate when you do that. The program is produced, by the way, by Two Squared Media Productions. You can find out more at twosquaredmediaproductions.com. I want to thank Ace Elson and Rosabelle Hine, who are the producers. And until next time, enjoy the day.